Hi everyone, and welcome to Book Club. Book Club is going to be my book review series. Basically, what this means is that every single book that I have read or that I'm going to read, I'm going to do a review on it. I'm going to talk about the story itself. I will have spoilers, so this isn't going to be a spoiler-free review. I can hear my mother slowly dying. Oh my goodness, I wonder if she's okay. She's actually making me nervous. She's been coughing so much. She gets me so nervous sometimes. But yes, this is not going to be a spoiler-free review. My reviews are going to be full of spoilers. I am going to talk about the actual plot of the book, the characters, what happens during it, and what I did and didn't like about the books. So Book Club is going to be my little review series of every single book that I own, because that's one of my challenges that I want to set for myself and what this YouTube channel started for. Every single book that I own, all the books that you see back here, off camera, and everything like that, I'm going to read them. I'm going to read every single book, and I'm going to review every single book to not only share my opinion of them, but also to remind myself that yes, I did read this book before, and I liked it, or maybe I didn't like it. That's going to be what the review is going to be about. And I am actually very excited to start this. And to start this, we are going to start with my personal favorite book, Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. And this book is actually the 10th anniversary edition. And I love it so much. It's so cute. It's so adorable. It has such a fun texture on it. And I just see all of it's just, I love it so much. It's hard to describe it. Like, little coffees, that's a reference. The scarf, it's a reference. This is a reference. It's a reference for the book itself, which obviously if you've read the book before and you buy this copy, you know exactly what this means. Like, you know what this means. Like, the read to me, sweetheart. It's so cute. I can ramble on and on, but I'm not going to ramble. I'm going to actually try and give a review. So, let's get into it. It's gonna be so much fun. I'm so excited. Let's go. So, as you could probably tell already, I am a fangirl of Fangirl. And these are all of my books, and this right here is actually the manga of it. It's the same story with the same characters. Nothing has really changed, only minor details here and there. Alright, so side characters. I'm going to try and blow through this really fast because while I feel like these side characters do help drive the plot, they're not as important as the other main characters. Like, they're not who we see a lot of. They do drive the plot a little bit, but not as much. And one of the characters I actually was thinking about making a main character, or like putting it in the main character category, was Kath's father, Arthur Avery. He is the main person that Kath is super nervous about leaving alone when she goes off to college, because he has had some bipolar episodes where he goes completely manic or extremely depressed and he can't take care of himself, so Kath feels the need to take care of him. Even though at this point he's trying to, tell them to go live their lives, to go do what they want, and stuff like that, general father stuff. So he is a very creative spirit, he loves his girls very much, and he's just a really sweet character overall. I consider him a side character, mostly because while some of the stuff that does happen to him, or that he does drive the plot, it's not as big as what happens to Ren or Levi, or what Regan says to Kath, or Kath's own thinking. So, another character is Professor Piper, because in the story, Kath goes to, obviously she goes to college, but she takes a fiction writing class by an actual author called her name is Professor Piper. I'm going in between of these are actual people. No, they're fictional characters. They're it's and that's, and it's no, they're people in the book, so they have, I don't know, it's weird. It's weird trying to talk about this. So she's kind of like Kath's, at least how I've seen it, or at least how I interpret it, almost like Kath's mother figure, in a sense of like how she's this mature older woman who does what Kath wants to do in life. She just wants to write for a living. That's all she wants to do in life. And suddenly here's this professor who's teaching kids how to write, who's showing them what writing is like and what that life's about, and she's successful at it as well. And she's kind of like what Kath does and doesn't want in life, in a sense. She's like the mother figure that Kath doesn't have. Which leads on to our other side character, the mother. I genuinely, like, as many times as I've read this book, and I remember a lot of the characters in here, I remember most of the plot points. I don't remember if the mom actually had a name or if Kath just always called her. No, she does have a name. Lauren. It starts with an L. I believe it's Laura or Lauren. You know, she just always called her like the mother, or like she, like, in her mind, Kath still calls her mom, but essentially what happens in the story is that Kath's mom leaves her and her sister on 9/11. So that's kind of seared into their brains, and then she just never called, texted, visited, or anything like that. She just left and didn't come back. So, yeah, that kind of messed them up just a little bit. And it's kind of a minor driving point. She talks about her mom a little bit, saying how her mom was the reason that she's so messed up, or that when her mom tries to come back into their lives, Kath wants nothing to do with her because if she wanted to, she already would have. Why is she coming back now? And my goodness. My goodness. I wanted to fight some of these people in this book so much, but I love this book so much. Anyway, the other side characters, which are kind of small potatoes, are, well, actually only one other side character, Nick. Nick is also in the fiction writing class with Professor Piper and Kath, and he becomes Kath's writing partner during an assignment, and after that assignment, they just continue to write together. And he's a side character, mostly, like, he's kind of like supposed to be teased as like, oh, he might be a love interest, but it's just, no, he's just her writing partner, which we'll get into the actual plot. And that's all the side characters. We went over the dad, the mom, the professor, and the student. Why do I feel like that'd be like a really weird but fun book title? I'm gonna write that down later. But anyway, that was all the characters, and let's get into the plot. We're gonna go over the plot of Fangirl, and I've had to redo this recording like 5 different times because I always go off on a tangent, or because I'm trying to explain something but I feel like it's not on the correct timeline. But this whole book is just so wrapped up in like minor side plots, and it all comes together really well that Rainbow Rowell is just a genius in doing this, at least in my interpretation of it, because it's like you try to explain this book to anyone with in-depth plot review, and it's difficult because it's layers and layers and layers on one character. Like, Kath has a lot of anxiety and she likes to write fan fiction. Okay, we'll start with that. So she only really likes Professor Piper's class, fiction writing, and that's where she meets Nick. And her and Nick get assigned as partners for a writing project. She has a roommate, Regan, who's friends with Levi, who's super nice to everyone, including her. Regan doesn't really care, like, what's going on, and it's like, it's just so convoluted because like each chapter is like focusing on 2 to 3 different little things. Like, Kath is worried about her dad and her sister. She's worried about writing fan fiction. She wants to write really well for Professor Piper and get her approval. Her dad has some sort of bipolar. She mentions how her mom left her in one chapter, and it's like all of these different anxieties coming in different ways in the beginning of the book. And we start to slowly learn about all of this as the book continues through. And the book is split up into 2 chunks: first semester, fall semester, and spring semester. And the first semester is really just about Kath's anxiety, about how her sister ignores her, about fiction writing and fan fiction, and her roommate who doesn't seem to like her, and her boyfriend, or her roommate's boyfriend Levi, who seems to be nice to everyone, even though Regan says that's not her boyfriend. She still is like, yeah, no, that's her boyfriend, because why else is he here all the time? And just going through, like, she starts writing with her classmate Nick at the library, and it's just all these different things are getting placed on top of each other. My mom. And it's just so interesting because you get all of this in the beginning of, like, probably the first 10 to 12 chapters, because this is like a 30 to 40 chapter book. So, and then part of that, you also start getting more into, like, the interpersonal relationship that her dad has with her and her sister. You start seeing how fanfiction really is important to Kath and how it helps her self-soothe her anxiety. She starts becoming really good friends with Regan, because Regan finds out that because of Kath's anxiety, she's not getting, like, help that she needs. Like, she's not eating food, she's not going to the cafeteria, she's just not taking care of herself because of her anxiety. So she forces her to take care of herself, and they have a reluctant friendship where they go eat dinner and lunch together, and they actually talk and chat and get to know one another. And Levi is Levi. He's so nice, he's so sweet. He talks to her, he tries to engage with her, he tries to invite her out to go do stuff, like go bowling or stuff like that. And Kath's just kind of like, oh, no thank you, I'd rather stay in, I'd rather do this. Like, she just does not want to go out and about with him. Not because there's anything wrong with him, but because that's not who she is as a person. She would rather stay inside than go outside. And her classes are going well. She's really liking fiction writing. Professor Piper has told her several times that her writing is great and amazing, and everything seems to be going well until Ren, her twin sister, texts her 911 at Mugsy's. Mugsy's is a bar, and she has Levi drive her over there because she's in a panic and she's asking for help, and she's going, Levi, I need help. Well, not asking for help, but Levi's there when she gets the text, and she goes, oh my god, my sister's at Mugsy's, it's 911, it's an emergency, where is Mugsy's? And Levi goes, I know where Mugsy's is, I have a truck and I'll drive you there. But Regan's like, well, we have something to do. And Levi's like, no, 911 is 911. So they go over there, and this is where we see why Kath is getting so worried about Ren, is because Ren is drinking like tons and tons of amounts of alcohol with her roommate Courtney, which I didn't mention in my side characters because I forget that she's there half the time. But Ren's out drinking, and she mocks Kath for being an introvert and for liking fan fiction. And Kath is like absolutely done with Ren. She's done with being treated horribly by Ren, or at least to Kath. How she's being treated by her sister is her being treated horribly, like being ignored, not being taken seriously, having her feelings pushed aside, and then making fun of the one coping mechanism that she has, fanfiction. She's done with it all. And to make matters worse, a few things are also happening around the same time. She turns in a piece of fanfiction to Professor Piper, and Professor Piper rips her a new one, explaining how you cannot be a real writer in the world if you're writing fanfiction. I disagree with that. I love to write fanfiction. I still do to this day while I write my actual manuscripts. But I use it as a way to hone in my skills with characters that I'm already familiar with, because character and world building are already so exhausting as it is. But also, when she goes home for Thanksgiving, Ren doesn't go with her because their mom, who stepped out of the picture when they were younger, wants to be back in their lives and wants to meet up and catch up with her. Ren is willing to meet up and catch up with her and talk to her and be friends again with her mom. But Kath absolutely wants nothing to do with her, and she sees this as another betrayal from Ren, from taking the side of the woman who betrayed them and left them. So this is happening, and then during their finals week, the biggest thing happens. Well, actually, not the biggest thing, but this, to me, I feel like this is a really big thing as a writer. But her writing partner / classmate in the fiction writing class, at the end of finals, Professor Piper tells them to write a 10,000 word short story. And Nick, her writing partner outside of class, and her classmate steals the story that they were working on together outside of class. And Kath is absolutely just distraught about this. She does not want to deal with that, and she is so upset that Professor Piper doesn't consider fan fiction to be a viable, reliable storytelling way, and Nick stole the story that they were working on together, that Kath just does not do the final project for her fiction writing class. She doesn't want to talk to Ren because Ren has mocked her and has betrayed her. And Regan doesn't fully understand Kath super well, and she doesn't want to talk to her dad because her dad is not all mentally there, and she's already worried enough about him. She doesn't want to add extra stress onto him, so she turns to Levi, who at this point already knows that she writes fan fiction. She has read some fan fiction to him, and he's very chill and calm about it. But also, he struggles with reading, not in a way that he can't read or he's dyslexic, but reading comprehension skills are not his strong suit. Listening comprehension skills are. He can listen to any book and retain all the information. But if he tries to read a book, it's difficult for him. And I know a couple of people who are also like this, but in different ways. They can't listen and comprehend very well, but they can read and comprehend very well. And vice versa. I've met some people who can't read, comprehend, who don't have really good reading comprehension skills, but have great listening comprehension skills. So, on the day that Levi and Regan were supposed to study together for the book Outsiders, which I have also read, it's so good, Kath offers to read him The Outsiders. And she does. They spend all night reading The Outsiders. Levi aces a test on it. But when she was reading, she was so sleepy and so tired, and they were snuggled up on her one little twin-sized bed, and they kissed. And it was so cute. It was so adorable. But after that, he left to go to work. Regan caught them in the bed together, which Kath kind of broke down crying. Regan had to tell her, it's fine, not boyfriend and girlfriend, you can date them. I was just surprised that you liked them, because she thought she was really mean to people. Because Kath just doesn't like people, which I can relate to. So how that ends up going is that Kath doesn't end up seeing Levi for a while, like for a few weeks after that, while everything else is going on with Professor Piper and with Nick and with Ren and their mom. That when Levi is throwing a party at his house and his roommates off campus, Regan takes Kath to go with her, and what ends up happening is that she sees Levi kissing another girl. Let me tell you, when this happened in the book, the first time I was reading it, I threw the book across the room. Like, I was like, oh, hell no. I was like, nope. I was like, hell no. Absolutely not. I would be so furious. But Regan, she's pissed on Kath's behalf. Kath is just kind of doing self-deprecating, like, God, why did I think he would like me? Why did I think, he was actually super nice and kind and all this stuff. And she just starts ignoring him. She doesn't let him into the dorm room anymore. She doesn't call or text him or anything like that. And then winter break happens, which is the end of fall semester of the first part of the book. And over winter break, she basically ignores Ren, and Ren ignores her because she's still trying to get Kath to try and connect with their mom. Kath is trying to get Ren to realize that connecting with their mom would do more harm than good. And their father is, their father's just kind of floating in his creative space, trying to get deals, because in the book he's in marketing, so trying to get deals here and there. So winter break comes and goes, and Kath does end up having a fight with her dad about not wanting to go back to college because of how hard it was mentally for her and how she just doesn't want to have to deal with it. So her dad tells her to stick it out. You're already halfway through the first year, just stick out the other half, and if you genuinely cannot handle being away from home, and if college at this university is too hard for you, then you could come home and do community college and get a part-time job, kind of thing. But she has to stick it out for the second semester, but she doesn't want to because she didn't do her final fiction writing assignment. She doesn't want to see Levi. She doesn't want to think about Nick stealing her story. She doesn't want to think about Ren being drunk and not caring about stuff. And by the time she does go back to school, everything is just a mess for her and she doesn't want to deal with it. And that is how we're starting the second semester, the second part of this book. Sorry about that. I needed tea because I'm not used to talking so much, but I realized I forgot to mention something big that also happens over winter, not over winter break, but before winter break in the first semester, is that Kath's dad has a breakdown at work, which makes her call Levi to take her to the hospital to go see her dad. And that's when she just kind of leaves everything. Like, she leaves Ren at school, she leaves her finals, and she talks to Levi at the hospital and goes like, I'm sorry, I won't keep calling you every time a family member has an issue or a problem or sent to the hospital. And Levi's trying to make light of it. He's trying to be like, hey, it's fine, I'm so glad you called, I wanted to text you, like, I've missed you, like, I want to hang out, I just want to call and chat. And she's over here, like, and they're at the hospital. And she's like, listen, I saw you kiss that other girl when I went to your party. And he was trying to tell her that it was just a kiss, that I didn't mean anything. And she's like, no, kisses aren't just for me. Like, if you kiss me and then I see you kiss someone else, then, like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you want me to say about that, which I completely agree with. And that's how she goes home, winter break, has the fight with her dad about wanting to leave school to stay at the house because everything's too hard for her and to look over him. But he's over here like, no, you're gonna go back to school for at least the rest of the year. You're gonna stick it out. I'm gonna have your grandmother come and help me, and if you still don't want to after that, then we're gonna be golden. Everything's gonna be just fine. I need to stir this in, my goodness. Which leads us into semester 2. I just did this, so this is gonna be hot. I don't understand how people like chamomile tea. Like, I have honey in this, but it literally just tastes like lightly flavored, not flowered, but like light flavor, like a light flower flavor, hot water. Like, it's just hot water, a little bit, even the honey disappears. It doesn't taste sweet at all. Like, did I break the bag? No, I didn't break the bag. I don't think I did. Yeah, no, I didn't. I've done that before when making tea. I've just broken the bag. I'll set that to the side. Anyway, into the second semester. Where to begin with it? Because, like, it's such a mess. So, first thing we're going to put out of the way to the side. Second semester, how it starts is that Kath gets called in to Professor Piper's office for fiction writing, and Professor Piper wants to know why she didn't do her assignment and what happened, why, like, all this other stuff. And Kath explains that all she thinks about is writing fan fiction, and that's all she wants to do right now. Professor Piper is disappointed, but says that she'll give Kath a good grade if she does the final assignment, and then they could put it all behind her. Which Kath reluctantly agrees to because she doesn't want to do the final assignment, which is 10,000 words of a short story, and she's just like, I don't want to do this, but Professor Piper's like, look, you're gonna do this, and you're gonna come and give me updates every once in a while, so that way I'm tracking your progress, that you are in fact doing this, which she doesn't want to. But as this is going on, she's kind of avoiding Levi. Her and Regan are still being friends and chatting. They go, like, Regan goes help Levi study somewhere else, until there gets to a point where Levi is just sitting outside of the dorm room and he just wants to talk. He just wants to chat. And he apologizes for what he did. He apologizes for kissing another girl. And how he says it to Kath is that, I can't believe I'm such an idiot. I have been wanting to kiss you all semester and I somehow messed it up, and now we're back to square one and you're not talking to me, and I want to make this right. I want to like talk to you and be your friend again, and I want to be more than friends. I want to start dating. And he asks the sweetest line, are you rooting for me? He asks Kath, if you're rooting for me, like, are you hoping that I make this up to you? Are you hoping that I will pull through in the end? And Kath, in her room, thinking everything's thoughts swirling around her brain, she just looks up and she goes, I'm rooting for you. Meaning that the relationship can be repaired and that they can make it work. So they kind of start taking it slow, just chatting, and his idea of like trying to get things back to a normalcy is by having Kath read him fan fiction that she wrote. And honestly, I just think it's adorable. It's so cute, and I love it because I don't remember if it's during this instant, but read to me, sweetheart. Like, just her reading to him is just so cute in general. And the fact that he actually appreciates and loves it when she does read to him, it's just so cute. And I love this so much. Anyway, I'm getting distracted once again, but I need a tea break because my throat is starting to hurt a little bit. I've been having to re-record so many things. I'm just like, I need my tea now. Even if it does just taste like lightly flavored flower water with a little bit of sweetness. Alright, what am I doing? Gotta make sure I put my tea down perfectly because I got like all my books on my bed. Anyway, so they start slowly dating. And Kath and Regan, they kind of have to set some rules because Regan did date Levi in high school, but it was kind of this thing of like, let's not try to make each other jealous, let's not be mean about it, let's not be rude about it, like, we're gonna be chill about you having a boyfriend. That's how we're gonna be chill. And they are chill. And then Kath and Levi start dating. He takes her to a museum that's on campus, shows her everything around, and it's just so cute as like their little dates. And it's so adorable. I love it so much. I have no other way to express it other than it's just adorable. And I believe it's during spring break. During the second semester, spring semester, it's spring break when Levi goes off for a family event and Kath is by herself and she gets a call from Ren. And she's kind of like, why is Ren calling me? So she picks it up and it's not Ren's voice, it's, hello, is this Kath? And all Kath is like, hi, who's this? She's like, oh, this is your mother. It's Lauren, whatever her name is. I already forgot. I already forgot which one I think it's Laura. She's like, it's Laura, it's your mother. Kath is at the hospital, and she goes to the hospital and she finds out that Ren has alcohol poisoning, that someone just dropped her off at the hospital and left her there. And the first thing that the hospital does is go through the contacts and call the mom. And so apparently under Ren's contact information for Laura, it was mom. So which Kath then takes her phone and takes Ren's phone and then tries calling her dad and Levi, and she's just stuck in the waiting room with her mom. And they're just sitting there awkwardly, like Kath isn't trying to initiate conversation. She's worried about Ren. She wants to know what's happening. And finally, after some time, after trying to get through to her dad, after texting Levi, who might not even be getting messages because he's traveling to a family function, a doctor comes through the doors and says that they can finally go and see her, that Ren is awake, and that she's gonna be fine, she's just gonna be dehydrated. And during that time, we finally get the confrontation that I believe is like probably the most satisfying, at least for me, is that Kath confronts her mother because her mother tries to leave after the doctor said they can go in and visit Ren. And her mother tries to leave, but tries to still be like, look, I want to talk to you, Kath, but this isn't the time or place. Like, you should go and see Ren. And Kath is like, no, you should go see Ren. You should go visit Ren. Like, god damn it, she's your daughter. And her mom's like, no, it's fine, it's fine, I'm just gonna leave. And Kath confronts her going like, hey, I'm your daughter too. You obviously don't care enough about us. Like, why do you suddenly want a relationship? And her mom's trying to be like, this isn't the place, this isn't the time, I'm not, like, I want to catch up with you. And Kath just tells her right then and there, this is the only chance you are going to get to try and talk to me. And her mom still leaves the hospital. And I feel like it's just such a powerful scene in so many different ways of like all the frustration and anger towards this woman finally spilling out, finally saying her mind of like, hey, this is what you get. This is the time that you get with me right now if you want to try and have a relationship with me. And the fact that she just still leaves, but still expects like, hey, yeah, I still want to catch up with you, but obviously not right now. It's like, it's just so powerful. At least for me it is. I don't know about you guys. I don't do it justice when I talk about it. You need to read it. You need all the context. You need all the details. You need that slow buildup when it comes to that powerful moment of when Kath just goes, this is all you get right now. And it's just so powerful. So her mother leaves and she goes, sees Ren. Ren is crying. She feels really sick. She's scared. And she's also super upset. And Kath doesn't say anything, doesn't do anything. She just makes Ren move over and she gets into the hospital bed with her and they share a bed and she spends the night. Her dad comes and picks him up in the morning. He takes her home. It's spring break and everything is just tense in the air. And I think what's also really cute is that so everything is tense, but when they're leaving the hospital, Levi is there, and so is Ren's boyfriend. I forgot what the boyfriend's name is. It's not Jose. I forgot what the name is. I forgot what her boyfriend's name is, because he's not like an actual prevalent character. He's just a side character for Ren, in my opinion, but oh my god. I still don't understand how people could drink chamomile. I'm going to learn to acquire it, to acquire the taste for it, but anyway. So Levi and Ren's boyfriend shows up at the hospital when they're about to leave, just to check in on them, be like, hey, I got all your texts, I want to make sure you're okay, I want to make sure your sister's okay, and everything like that. And then they go home. Everything's tense between Ren and their dad, because their dad is pissed. Like, this man has been so soft, so kind, a little manic and crazy and funny between it all, but right now he is pissed. And I'm over here just like, oh my god. It's never a good thing when like the dad is mad, and like, especially if it's like a loving and caring dad, because then you like feel that anger and it's like, oh my god, I'm so scared. Like the tension is just thick. And basically he just tells Ren that if you are going to drink your life away, then I'm gonna take you out of school. I'm gonna force you to come back home. You're gonna be forced to go to AA meetings. And Ren's getting all like, what? Like, no, everyone drinks. I don't see the problem with this. And it's just a huge fight, back and forth, where her dad is saying like, obviously you don't care about your health because you got alcohol poisoning. And she's trying to say like, well, everyone drinks at college and I'm just living up to the experience. And they're making these points back and forth. Kath is staying out of it, but she is kind of trying to monitor the situation and try to talk sense into both of them. Like, she's trying to tell Ren like, hey Ren, you did get alcohol poisoning. This isn't unfair of him to ask that you try and be smart about it. And then she's going towards her dad and be like, Dad, you can't force someone to do something they don't want to do. You can't force them into AA meetings. You can't force them into therapy. You can't force them to leave school. So the compromise that they came up with is that she goes home every weekend and she doesn't drink anymore. That's the compromise they came up with. And Ren is actually really surprised by how mature Kath is being about this, and she's trying to like be like, aren't you still mad at me? Aren't you still angry with me? Like, we've been fighting and all this stuff. And Kath's like, I'm done fighting. I'm done being angry. I'm done not talking to my twin sister. Because what happened with Ren getting alcohol poisoning, Kath could have lost her. And Kath doesn't want to lose her. She's like, I don't care what happens between us. I never want to not talk to you like that again. Because if that ends up happening and something similar happens and I don't know about it, that is what's going to hurt her the most. So, and then that's when also Ren is finding out that Kath has a boyfriend in Levi. Kath is making up her grades and she's doing really well in school. She's, you know, having this wonderful time in college now because she's friends with Regan. She's acing her classes. She has a really fun boyfriend. She's doing a lot of fan fiction writing and everything is just super great. And I need some more tea. So, we also get a little bit, so things are starting to like look up now. Kath got the closure she needed from her mother. She got together with Levi. Her and Ren are now talking again all the time. She's still friends with Regan, even though Regan thinks the whole twin thing is weird, which I think that's just hilarious, is that Regan just thinks it's really weird that she has a twin sister. But it's like so funny because she's like, oh, that's so weird. But it all comes to a head when she also gets even more closure because Nick shows up again. The same Nick that stole their story and took it as his own and turned it in as his final assignment for the fall semester. He shows up at her dorm and is like, hey, what's up? So Professor Piper found out that you helped me write the story and she's taking away all this stuff from me, but I can still keep my grade if we share the credit. So do you want to share the credit? Like, yeah, you say yes. Yeah, I'll go tell her that we're sharing the credit, right? And she's just kind of looking at him, and she looks at her sister, she looks at her boyfriend, she looks at Regan, and she's like, no, you were right. It's all your story. And she basically just goes, you know what? No, you deserve everything that comes with it. Basically saying, like, reap the consequences of your actions. I'm not talking to you, and I'm not going to keep dealing with this. And Nick's all butthurt, but Levi steps up and is like, hi, no, we're not going to have this issue. And it's just, I love Levi so much. He's so cute. I love him so much. Oh my god, my throat. My poor throat. So, nearing the end of the book, two major things are left over. One is fan fiction, and the other is the fiction writing class. Now, throughout this whole entire book, as I've said, Kath is writing fan fiction about the world of mages, which is their version of the wizarding world. So, their version of Harry Potter, basically. And the book takes place in 2012, where the creator of this fake universe of the world of mages is sending out an 8th book to end the series. And Kath has been writing a fan fiction based on what her version of the ending should be. And her and Levi had this big fight over finishing the fan fiction, over doing the actual assignment that Professor Piper is allowing her to make up by the end of the semester. Levi tells Kath that if he had the chance to redo any of his assignments, any of his final assignments for a better grade, he would be jumping on the chance to do it. And Kath is telling him that she doesn't care about the assignment. It's not her passion. That she likes fan fiction, and the fan fiction is what's important to her. They have this big fight about it, how he just goes, fine, if that's what's the most important thing for you, then I'll see you when you're done with it. And she's like now freaking out because she's like, what? No, that's not what I meant. Like, we only have 13 days left of college before we like leave for summer break, and we're not gonna see each other throughout the entire time. Like, what do you mean you're leaving? And he just leaves, and she sits there for like an hour just kind of like freaking out, crying. She wants to go chase after Levi, to which she does. She goes out the door, she's about to find him, run him down, and she looks down and he's sitting outside the door going like, I don't know why I thought I could be away from you for 9 days when I couldn't be away from you for 9 minutes. And so they make up, and, you know, she's like, you're right, this assignment is important, and you're right, the fan fiction can wait, it's not a race, like, I could finish this whenever, before the book comes out, before I finish my assignment. And Levi's like, no, your passion and what you're interested in is also important. And they actually have communication. Like, oh my god, this book, like, this is one of my other versions of my book. Like, and this one has fan art inside, so I love it so much. It has fan art on both sides, actually. So, this was originally my pretty version, but now the other one's my pretty version. Like, in the book, it's just, they have, like, in the beginning, they had a bit of issue with communication because Kath wasn't sure how to communicate her feelings, and Levi wasn't understanding the feelings or being able to communicate it either. But now, nearing the end, it's like they can communicate pretty clearly, even after a fight now, and I love it so much. Like, they concluded the fight. They're like, we had this spat, we're done, we're over with it, we talked it through, and we're good. And so the end of the book is just, she's at Levi's house, and she's reading, you know, the story, the new book that the creator of The World of Mages published. And then after she's reading it, she's now finally working on her 10,000 word assignment that Professor Piper is allowing her to make up. And we get a little bit of a hint of what she's writing about, because we get a bit of a small hint of, like, it was like, we saw the planes overhead, it's 9/11, and they're shouting inside the house, alluring to the fact that she's writing about the day her mother left. And then that's how the book ends. And that is the whole plot, at least the most important plots that I think are, from beginning to end. Now, I probably missed a couple of stuff here and there, probably some minor details, or maybe even, like, chunks of character development or character arc, but that's just how I remember the story going. Just kind of, like, from beginning to end. And alright, I have finished my tea, and I am ready to continue on into my own personal thoughts about Fangirl. Now, obviously, I mean, I have the 10th anniversary edition. I have the entire manga set of the same story. I think it's pretty clear to anyone who knows me, this is my favorite book, and I have read it every year since 2016, and I started high school in 2016, so I've been reading it for 9 years, consistently. At least once a year I would read it, ever since I found it. And I love this book so much because when I first started reading it in high school, I related to having anxiety and only a few close friends, and finding a coping mechanism in writing. And then when I got to college, I really related hard to Kath, because, you know, I thought it was a little bit silly of, like, oh, you can't go to the cafeteria because you don't know, like, where to stand in line for food, or where to put the trays, or where you're allowed to sit down, or if you just stand for a little bit, you're gonna look like an idiot. Like, I didn't understand that in high school, but going to college, especially because I went to college in 2020, fall of 2020, and that's when the pandemic hit, COVID-19, everything just, I got so anxious, so depressed, that even leaving my room scared me so badly that I had people being sent to check up on me from the school itself. So I related hard to this book. Like, it was to the point where I was Kath. Like, all I was doing in my room, like, I was ignoring my health, I was just writing and sleeping. That's all I did all day. I just stayed locked up in my room, read, wrote, and slept. That's all I did. But, you know, it's still a happy ending in this book, and I have a happy ending now for the most part. I mean, life is gonna keep lifing, it's gonna keep throwing curveballs, it's gonna squeeze lemon juice into my eyes, And unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to grin and bear it for a little bit. So, but I do like this book for other than just nostalgic reasons of me reading it every year. The story is enjoyable for all ages. I feel like that, especially for people within fandoms, it's the best way to convey like fandom feelings. Like, if people don't know what fandom life is like but don't want to get into it, have them read the book, then maybe they'll understand. But also, I love how everything is just woven together in this book. Like, it's insane. Like, the reason why I had to hit record over and over and over again is because it's a bunch of side stories interwoven into one. And it's just so hard to explain it with the time of events, because when one big important thing is happening, there's also another thing happening at the same time. And trying to explain the plot and the timeline is just difficult because it's so interwoven together. But that's what I love about it so much. It's like, oh, this is happening, because it's like real life, because that's what happens in real life, is that it's several things layered, stacked on top of each other. And it's great. I love it. I love how she writes. And my rating for it, 5 out of 5. I still love this book. I will still reread this book over and over again. And now that I have the manga version of it, I can now read it quicker than before, because now it's basically just the dialogue and some inner monologues with pictures. It's great. It's really quick and easy. And honestly, I've heard some rumors that Rainbow Rowell is getting a movie for Eleanor and Park, which I have read before in high school. That's going to be a different video, a different day at some point in the future. Heard they're getting a movie. I hope Fangirl gets a movie, but I would recommend this book to anyone who's just started out reading, because it's really simple style of following along. It's kind of dialogue heavy based with... I feel like it's an easy read. I started reading this in high school when I was a freshman. I wanted to read it in middle school, but my librarian wouldn't let me. But I was also a reader, so I feel like that if you are a casual reader, this might be a good cozy read to just kind of, read through the week or through the month, depending on how fast you read. And I would recommend it to anyone. I'm always going to, not always, but even if I didn't like the book, I would still recommend you guys to read it, because my personal tastes and yours are going to be different. As similar as they might be, they're never going to be 100% similar. So something I love might be something you hate, but we'll never know unless you give the book a shot. And to wrap it all up, I am going to tell you who my favorite character is and my least favorite. My favorite character is Regan, because she's so funny. Like, she doesn't mean to be funny, but she's like so mean and sarcastic and blunt that it just makes me laugh, because it's like, oh my god, I love her character. I love her personality. It's just so great and so funny, and seeing her in certain situations with Kath or Ren, it's hilarious. And my least favorite character has to be Nick, because Nick is the reason why I am scared of telling people story ideas that I have, even just for like a soundboard, because I'm scared people will steal them and go use them. So it's so ridiculous, but it's why I'm scared of people like knowing my story ideas and why I lock them away. But yeah, I love this book. I love these characters. I love the story, and it's just so great. Alright everyone, I hope you've liked this video. I hope you enjoyed the content that I tried to make. This is my first review video, the first video of my book club series. I'm so nervous about this because I don't think I explained it very clearly, but it's just going to take practice and time. And I appreciate you guys so much, to everyone who watches this, to everyone who likes this or comments. Like, I'm just very appreciative of it. Yeah. This took so long to try and record because this is my favorite book and I kept on rambling on. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did like it, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, let me know in the comments what I could have done better. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next chapter. Bye!